Hello, friends. Can you believe it? 2 days in a row. We're here 2 days in a row. Jack is behind me somewhere looking out the window, and we are here on a Monday morning, bright and early, ready to get started. So today we are going to be reading in 1 Kings and 2 Chronicles. So we've been in Proverbs for a while. We get a nice little break today. So we're going to be starting with 1 Kings 5 and 6 and then moving on over. So I think we're going to go ahead and get started. Today's also day 162. Yeah. Yesterday my daughter said, Mom, TikTok told me that you were going live, but I missed it. And I said, do you realize I read the Bible every day on TikTok? She was like, no. Like, good to know my own children know what I'm doing. It made me laugh. All right, so those of you that are here because you know that I'm reading the Bible on TikTok, we are going to start in 1 Kings 5. So I'm just going to start reading. If you want to read along with me, great. If you just want to listen, great. I'm glad to have you here. So here we go. King Hiram of Tyre had always been a loyal friend to David, so when he learned that David's son Solomon was the new king of Israel, Hiram sent ambassadors to congratulate him. Then Solomon sent this message back to Hiram. You know that my father David was not able to build a temple to honor the name of the Lord his God because of the many wars he waged with the surrounding nations. He could not build until the Lord gave him victory over all of his enemies. But now the Lord my God has given me peace on every side, and I have no enemies, so all is well. Wouldn't that be nice? I have no enemies. So I am planning to build a temple to honor the name of the Lord my God, just as he instructed my father that I should do. For the Lord told him, your son, who I will place on the throne, will build a temple to honor my name. Now please command that the cedars from Lebanon be cut for me. Let my men work alongside yours, and I will pay your men whatever wages you ask. As you know, there is no one among us who can cut timber like you Sidonians. When Hiram received Solomon's message, he was very pleased and said, Praise the Lord for giving David a wise son to be king to a great nation of Israel. And then he sent this reply to Solomon. I have received your message, and I will do as you've asked concerning the timber. I can supply you with both cedar and cypress. My servants will bring the logs from the Lebanon mountains to the Mediterranean Sea and build them into rafts. You can float them along the coast to whatever place you choose, and then we'll break the rafts apart and deliver the timber to you. You can pay me with food for my household. So Hiram produced Solomon as much cedar and cypress timber as he desired, and in return Solomon sent him an annual payment of 100,000 bushels of wheat, 100,000 for his household, and 110,000 gallons of olive oil. So the Lord gave great wisdom to Solomon just as he had promised, and Hiram and Solomon made a formal alliance of peace. That's funny, my husband is a big cigar guy, and Hiram and Solomon is a brand. I was like, oh, they make cigars. No, not really. Then King Solomon enlisted 30,000 laborers from Israel, and he sent them to Lebanon in shifts, 10,000 every month, so that each man would be 1 month in Lebanon and then 2 months at home. Adoniram was in charge of this labor force, and Solomon also enlisted 70,000 common laborers, 80,000 stonecutters in the hill country, and 3,600 foremen to supervise the work. At the king's command, the stonecutters quarried and shaped the costly blocks of stone for the foundation of the temple. Men from the city of Gebal helped Solomon and Hiram's builders prepare the timber and the stone for the temple. It was mid-spring, during the 4th year of Solomon's reign, that he began the construction of the temple of the Lord. This was 480 years after the people of Israel were delivered from their slavery in the land of Egypt. So all those times when you think, this isn't happening fast enough, or did God really promise me that because I don't see it? 480 years. I couldn't. No, I'm not patient enough for that. 480 years. That's crazy. The temple that King Solomon built for the Lord was 90 feet long, 30 feet wide, and 45 feet high. The foyer at the temple was 30 feet wide, running across the entire width of the temple, and it projected outward 15 feet from the front. Solomon also made narrow, recessed windows throughout the temple. A complex of rooms was built against the outer wall of the temple, all the way around the rear and sides of the building. The complex was 3 stories high, the bottom floor being 7.5 feet wide, the second floor being 9 feet wide, and the top floor 10.5 feet wide. So it goes out as it goes up? That's odd. The rooms were connected to the walls of the temple by beams resting on ledges built out from the wall, so the beams were not inserted into the walls themselves. The stones used in the construction of the temple were pre-finished and at the quarry, so the entire structure was built without the sound of a hammer, axe, or any other tool. Seriously? Pre-finished at the quarry, so you did not hear them building. That's crazy, because construction is really loud. The entrance to the bottom floor was on the south side of the temple, and there were winding stairs going up to the second floor, and then another flight of stairs between the second and third floors. After completing the temple structure, Solomon put in a ceiling made of beams and the planks of cedar. As already stated, there was a complex of rooms on 3 sides attached to the temple walls by cedar timbers, and each story of the complex was 7.5 feet high. Then the Lord gave this message to Solomon: "Concerning this temple you're building, if you keep all my laws and regulations and obey my commands, I will fulfill through you the promise I made to your father David. I will live among the people of Israel and never forsake my people." So Solomon finished building the temple. The entire inside from floor to ceiling was paneled with wood. He paneled the walls and the ceilings with cedar, and he used cypress for the floors. He partitioned off an inner sanctuary, the most holy place, at the far end of the temple. It was 30 feet deep and paneled with cedar from floor to ceiling. The main room of the temple, outside of the most holy place, was 60 feet long. Cedar paneling completely covered the stone walls throughout the temple, and the paneling was decorated with carvings of gourds and open flowers. Solomon prepared the inner sanctuary in the rear of the temple, where the Ark of the Lord's covenant would be placed. This inner sanctuary was 30 feet long, 30 feet wide, and 30 feet high. Solomon overlaid its walls and ceilings with pure gold, and he also overlaid the altar made of cedar. Then he overlaid the rest of the temple's interior with pure gold, and he made gold chains to protect the entrance to the most holy place. So he finished overlaying the entire temple with gold, including the altar that belonged to the most holy place. I feel like I have to sneeze. Within the inner sanctuary, Solomon placed 2 cherubim made of olive wood, each 15 feet tall. The wingspan of each cherubim was 15 feet, and each wing was 7.5 feet long. The 2 cherubim were identical in shape and size, and each was 15 feet tall. Solomon placed them side by side in the inner sanctuary of the temple, and their outspread wings reached from wall to wall, where their inner wings touched the center of the room. He overlaid the 2 cherubim with gold. All the walls of the inner sanctuary and the main room were decorated with carvings of cherubim, palm trees, and open flowers, and the floor in both rooms were overlaid with gold. For the entrance to the inner sanctuary, Solomon made double doors of olive wood with 5-sided doorposts. The doors were decorated with carvings of cherubim, palm trees, and open flowers, and the doors were overlaid with gold. Everything was overlaid with gold. The walls of the inner court are built so that there was 1 layer of cedar beams after every 3 layers of hewn stone. And the foundation of the Lord's temple was laid in mid-spring on the 4th year of Solomon's reign. The entire building was completed in detail by mid-autumn on the 11th year of his reign. So it took 7 years to build the temple. That's crazy. All right. Good morning. Glad to have you here. It sounds made up. Reading it straight from the Bible. They used feet for measuring in 600 BC. I think that they probably adjusted that for people in our day and age, actually. I don't know that they did, but they might have. Who knows? I would like to go and see that place. I think that it'd be very cool. And if I had a shed that was that big, then that would be insane. Okay, so moving on, we're going to go to 2 Chronicles. Because we're reading the Bible chronologically, which I always forget to mention every day because I have different people on with me, means we're reading it the order that it happened, not the order that it's written. So that's why we're jumping around a lot. Just like the Star Wars movies came out 4, 5, and 6, and then 1, 2, and 3, but you can go back and watch them all in order. I like to read it in order, so that's what we're doing. So sometimes the things will overlap or say the same thing, but they're slightly different, which is really interesting. So we're skipping to 2 Chronicles 2 and 3, and that seems like it's going to be the same story. So let's see if it's any different or if it's the same. Solomon now decided that the time had come to build a temple for the Lord and a royal palace for himself. I didn't talk about the palace in the last one. He enlisted a force of 70,000 common laborers, 80,000 stonecutters, and 3,600 foremen. Solomon also sent this message to King Hiram at Tyre: "Send me cedar logs like the ones that were supplied to my father David when he was building his palace. I'm about to build a temple to honor the name of the Lord my God, and it will be a place set apart to burn incense and sweet spices before him, to display the special sacrificial bread, and to sacrifice burnt offerings each morning and evening, on the Sabbath, at the new moon celebration, and at the other appointed festivals of the Lord our God. He's commanded Israel to do these things forever. This will be a magnificent temple because our God is an awesome God, greater than any other. But who can really build him a worthy home? Not even the highest heavens can contain him. So who am I to consider building a temple for him, except as a place to burn sacrifices to him? So send me a master craftsman who can work with gold, silver, bronze, and iron, someone who is expert at dyeing purple, scarlet, and blue cloth, cloth, a skilled engraver who can work with the craftsmen of Judah and Jerusalem, who were selected by my father David. Also send me cedar, cypress, and almug logs from Lebanon, for I know that your men are without equal at cutting timber. I will send my men to help them, and an immense amount of timber will be needed for the temple, for I am going to build will be very large and magnificent. I will pay your men 100,000 bushels of crushed wheat, 100,000 bushels of barley, 110,000 gallons of wine. They did not mention wine in the last one. And 110,000 gallons of olive oil. King Hiram sent this letter in reply to Solomon. It is because the Lord loves his people that he's made you their king. Blessed be the Lord, the God of Israel, who made the heavens and the earth. He's given David a wise son, gifted with skill and understanding, who will build a temple for the Lord and a royal palace for himself. I'm sending you a master craftsman named Huram-Abi. He's a brilliant man, the son of a woman from Dan in Israel. His father is from Tyre, and he is skillful at making things from gold, silver, bronze, and iron. He's also known all in stonework, carpentry, and weaving, and is an expert in dyeing purple, blue, and scarlet cloth, and in working with linen. He's also an engraver and can follow any design given to him. He will work with your craftsmen and those appointed by my lord David, your father. Send along the wheat, barley, olive oil, and wine that you mentioned, and we will cut whatever timber you need from the Lebanon mountains, and will float the logs in rafts down the coast of the Mediterranean Sea to Joppa. From there you can transport the logs up to Jerusalem. Solomon took a census of all the foreigners in the land of Israel, like the census his father had taken, and he counted 153,600. He enlisted 70,000 of them as common laborers, 80,000 as stonecutters in the hill country, and 3,600 as foremen. Interesting. So those were all the foreigners. All right, last chapter, chapter 3. So Solomon began to build the temple of the Lord in Jerusalem on Mount Moriah, where the Lord had appeared to Solomon's father, King David. The temple was built on the threshing floor at Aroniah, the Jebusite, the site that David had selected. The construction began in mid-spring during the 4th year of Solomon's reign. The foundation for the temple of God was 90 feet long and 30 feet wide. The foyer at the front of the temple was 30 feet wide, running across the entire width of the temple. The inner walls of the foyer and ceiling were overlaid with pure gold, and the roof of the foyer was 30 feet high. The main room of the temple was paneled with cypress wood, overlaid with pure gold, and decorated with carvings of palm trees and chains. The walls of the temple were decorated with beautiful jewels and with pure gold from the land of Parvaim. All the walls, beams, doors, and thresholds throughout the temple were overlaid with gold, and figures of cherubim were carved into the walls. The most holy place was 30 feet wide, corresponding with the width of the temple, and it was also 30 feet deep. Its interior was overlaid with about 23 tons of pure gold. They used gold nails. Seriously, even the nails. They used gold nails that weighed about 20 ounces each, and the walls of the upper rooms were also overlaid with pure gold. Solomon made 2 figures shaped like cherubim and overlaid them with gold, and they were placed in the most holy place. The total wingspan of the 2 cherubim standing side by side was 30 feet. One wing of the first figure was 7.5 feet long, and it touched the temple wall. The other wing, also 7.5 feet long, touched one of the wings of the second figure. In the same way, the second figure also had one wing 7.5 and touched the opposite wall. The other wing, also 7.5, touched the wing of the first figure. So the wingspan of both cherubim together was 30 feet. They both stood and faced outward along the main room of the temple, and across the entrance of the most holy place, Solomon hung a curtain made of fine linen and blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, with figures of cherubim embroidered on it. For the front of the temple, Solomon made 2 pillars that were 27 feet tall. Hold on, Dad's awake. 27 feet tall, and each topped by a capital extending upward another 7.5 feet. He made a network of interwoven chains and used them to decorate the tops of the pillars. He also made 100 decorative pomegranates and attached them to the chains. Then he set up the 2 pillars at the entrance to the temple, one at the south to the entrance and the other at the north. He named one on the south Jachin and the one on the north Boaz. That's cool. He named the pillars. All right, so that is all that we're reading for our story for today about how Solomon built the temple, which was actually very cool. I wonder if we could go visit it. Like, where is this temple? Does it still exist? Can we go walk inside and see this crazy, come here, Jack, this crazy gold cherubim that are that tall? We live in a really old house. It was built in the 1800s, so our ceilings are over 10 feet. Like, they're really big. Most houses, the ceilings are only 8. So our house, our ceilings seem really high. And that's crazy to me that these ceilings were 30. It was 3 times the ceilings of our house. That's tall. And to have a big angel like that, like, I don't know, I'd like to see it. So anyway, that's all that we're reading for today. Thank you so much for being here with us. I know he is really cool, but he's also being in pain right now. He won't come here. Come here, Jack. Come here. He is. He's the most handsome boy in the whole world. Can you sit? Come here. Come here, sit. Say hi. Look, they want to see your face. They can't see it over there. They want to see your face. Yeah. Jack is 8 months old, and he is over 100 pounds. We're not sure exactly how big he is right now, but he is pretty huge. So I think he's the best in the whole entire world, but I'm partial. All right, I hope that you guys have a fantastic Monday. Thank you for hanging out with us. Maybe I'll take my phone off since we're all done, and then you can see him. Hey, Jack, say hi. Can you say hi? Oh, why do you look so grumpy? Say hi, everybody. Happy Monday. They like hanging out with you. Why are you being so grumpy? Why are you being so grumpy? All right, have a great day.